Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. And we have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be Phobos, the Terran bot, taking on a bot that last time I cast it, it was a crazy Widowmine building bot. But apparently ANIBot does have a wide variety of strategies, so we're going to see if it changes things up, or if it does try to go for mass Widowmine shenanigans again, which I, for one, would personally be okay with. But yes, we're on Torches, the AI edition. We've got ourselves a TVT, but more importantly, a bot versus bot match, as, yeah, I'd say bot matches have a bit more variety in mirror matches when it comes versus human pro games. And so we do have Phobos letting us know what build it's going to go for. 1-1-1, 5 Reaper, 4 Hellion. So going for some early pressure, potentially against ANIBot, which isn't feeling very confident. We've seen it go for confidence 5% multiple times before. So it does make me wonder if that's kind of just like a default or something from it. But, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead, click that like button, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot games, and then subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Oh my gosh, I just realized this was I should have clued into it, seeing as how ANIBot said CC first, but this was literally a CC first, not just like a racks into CC, so very greedy opening from ANIBot. Now with the racks just on the way, it could be in a bit of trouble here, although Phobos does elect to keep its Reaper at home for now. Yeah. Let's see, as we do have that refactory on the way, but every second that goes by is a good second for the Blue Terran bot, as it does need time to get that production up after delaying it in the name of this extra command center. We've got just one racks producing Marines with a second one on the way. Factory being queued up as well. Yeah. I'm not sure if I said my spiel already, to be honest. So if you guys haven't already, click that like button. Leave a comment down below saying more boats, more bots, more agents, whatever it may be. And then subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We've got that double Reaper Hellion on the way for Phobos. This is a way that I like to open up on the ladder myself because, well, to be honest, it can get you quick wins because TVT is a matchup where there can definitely be snowballing. If you have 3 Reapers and your opponent has only invested in 2, you can potentially kill your opponent. Now, it does seem Phobos in this game is planning on getting aggressive, but it is waiting for a medivac before it moves out, which could give ANIBot some crucial time in order to defend against this, but it's still not going to, the outlook is still bleak, as it's just presently 3 Marines taking on what is potentially going to be, well, it's told us 5 Reapers, 4 Hellions, and we've got 5 Reapers and 3 Hellions right now. So I'm guessing as soon as that 4th Hellion pops out, we will be having a move out from Phobos. Now, Phobos does need to get some damage done, as of course its command center is very late compared to its opponent. ANIBot does have a factory finished up, but we've yet to see, say, a Cyclone or a tank, something that has the muscle in order to hold off Reapers and Hellions. Looks like the Hellions are going to be elevated into the opponent's base as the Reapers just charge on up. There is a turret at the front, which could help push the medivac back, but in go the Reapers, in go the Hellions. This is very cool drop play from Phobos. It's not something we see from a lot of bots, as it's very difficult to program. Reapers go into the natural. Hellions unload all of a sudden. The depot gets raised, but that actually needs to get lowered. Blocks the Marines, but then ANIBot does unload it. The Hellions are kind of waiting to take their shots here. Meanwhile, the Reapers at the natural are disrupting some mining. But yes, the Hellions of Phobos seemed like they were mis-microed there and didn't actually fire away. So a little bit of over microing on Phobos there. I suppose the Reapers are firing a little bit, But yeah, the units seem to be prioritizing retreating rather than getting damage done, which I think is something that probably would need to be programmed in if you are going for something like a Hellion dive. It's damage first, keep the Hellions alive second, usually. So that is not a great start for Phobos, as, I mean, ANIBot lost literally like nothing. It lost 1 SCV, I think, to that. So a bit of a failure there from Phobos. Now, Phobos is a bot with good fundamentals, so it can potentially come back in this game, as it's already producing a Viking, got out a Raven, has a tank on the way, so it doesn't really need to fear some big counterattack. But yes, that is a really great start from ANIBot. A turret is going up at the 3rd base for ANIBot, so making sure it has detection. That is very cool to see. The Terran bot, meanwhile, also pulling out of gas, so it does have good economic balancing in regards to wanting to have a balanced mineral-gas ratio. The blue Terran bot, I think it might have been chasing that Reaper unless it killed it. And there is still 2 Reapers out back at home for Phobos. But yeah, a very good start for ANIBot, as Phobos kind of gave it a little bit of a lead there. I do like that build from Phobos. Like, that build I think had potential to potentially kill ANIBot, say if it moved out a little bit sooner. But there's multiple ways you got to go about programming something like that. It's very difficult to program a drop because there's so many variables. Like, you don't know what your drop's going to run into until it basically shows up. So if I had to think about it, I guess there'd be 3 things you could prioritize or select off the top of my head. One would just be to try and kill workers, which I think with Hellions is probably a good idea. Just dive the workers, prioritize them, don't retreat or over micro or anything like that, as we kind of saw here today. The other option, which can lead to a quick and dirty win with the Reapers and Hellions, is just to prioritize killing your opponent's units, because ANIBot definitely didn't have enough units to defend against that, but since Phobos split its units up, it didn't get damaged, whereas if it just, say, tried to kill the Marines with the Reapers and Hellions, it might have just won the game. Of course, that's a gamble, because if your opponent opens up with, like, a bunker or something like that, it's not very doable. So again, there's a reason why it's probably better just to go for workers and that kind of thing. But you can break that down, and it just boils down to programming drops is hard, I imagine. We've got Phobos now going for a push. This is something Phobos really excels at, as tanks, Vikings are moving forward. ANIBot has got its own Vikings out, but not as many as its opponent. As it loses one, the 3rd base is going to be in trouble. The blue Terran bot is trying to get up a 4th base. Marines are running around going the wrong way, as ANIBot just has unupgraded bio presently, moving across the map, looking to counter-strike Phobos here, as the 3rd base of ANIBot is taking a lot of heat. SCVs are running away. There is some very bizarre unit positioning going on in this engagement. It looks like the command center will go down, but at the same time, Phobos will have its attempt at another expansion be canceled, and there's not a lot to defend back at home for Phobos. So we're having a bit of a base race right now, and that is going to light a bit of a fire under the butt of Phobos, as instead of it just getting damage done, now all of a sudden it kind of may need to win the game. We'll see, as these Marauders, unupgraded Marauders, are doing quite well for themselves as they killed off some Marines, but that tank could be a solid answer to them. Phobos, meanwhile, is expanding in the middle of this. That's the beauty of these bots. Scan needed for vision, trying to pair the scan with the tanks. That's very good from ANIBot, but Phobos, with the air control, is able to get a tank shot off. Now it can repair its own tanks, and the noose is kind of tightening here as Phobos moves forward. However, the natural command center is being burned down. SCVs were repairing, but it's not enough, so that dies. The bio was staying out of range of the tank. Now it walks into the range of the tank, which is a little concerning here, as the Marauders aren't exactly diving that tank, which is something bots generally have to do. The tank at the natural base of ANIBot did go down as well, so there still is no answer for this big army of Phobos, and we have a genuine big old base race going on right now between 2 bots. Phobos losing SCVs as they transfer out. The tank is zoning out ANIBot, though. So Phobos still has the main. It's got, like, 3 new expansions getting established, whereas ANIBot is really, really contained here. ANIBot's building 3 Vikings at a time. If it can seize air control, that would be a big deal. Presently, though, Phobos still has 7 Vikings out, so Annie would need a few rounds of production in order to defend against this. A tank is moving forward. We'll see where it's going to siege up for the Blue Terran. It actually sieges up very, very far forward, way too far forward, although some bio moves forward to kind of buffer for this. Tank versus tank. It's a I don't know, like an old Western pistol draw, and it looks like ANIBot does kill off 1 tank of Phobos, which is nice, but still, it's not able to come out ahead there. 2 Marines are hitting this expansion attempt of Phobos. Medivac is actually healing these Marines and keeping them alive. Most of the other units have been cleaned on out, so things are looking quite good for Phobos, whereas ANIBot has got so many SCVs just rallied up there. A tank does get sieged up in quite a nice spot. Killing off the SCVs is big because there'd be no more repair on the tanks, but Phobos' economy is really still going here. It's got 4 bases up. ANIBot is still mining decently itself, so they both have decent production. Phobos, though, still has 7 Vikings to 1. It's really sieging up the natural of its opponent. Tank of ANIBot unsieges as ANIBot moves forward with a few Marines, but Phobos has more SCVs with this now, and a tank is moving down the ramp. That's precarious as the tank sieges up, but it's just in quite a bit of trouble. Marauders do move forward with this, though, at the same time, which is quite nice, and it does trade tank for tank, which is good. Unfortunately, though, the Vikings of ANIBot do get wiped once again. Phobos maintains air control, and the game seems to be trending well for the Red Terran bot. As, yeah, ANIBot just rallying out little bits of bio, but it's not quite enough here as the Red Terran bot is in quite a bit of trouble. Tank moving down the ramp, but it doesn't want to go too far. Okay, that's a good bit of inching forward. The tanks aren't quite in range of each other presently, but we see how much trouble Phobos is causing with its Vikings. How many Vikings of ANIBot have died? 21-0. It just goes to show the power of grouping, the power of repair. Phobos has got bio with stim now, so it may potentially be able to break this eventually. It does only have 1 tank against the 2. ANIBot is actually a little bit caught on its own tank that sieged up on its ramp, which may actually be a good thing, preventing it from going further down. The 2 tanks do siege up. ANIBot is expanding still. That's the beauty of these bots. They'll just macro behind it if you have good behavior programmed into them. So like Phobos and ANIBot are both still just like, yeah, we're just doing our thing, as the natural is really locked down here. But ANIBot, Phobos actually goes for a drop, which is very cool. Vikings of ANIBot do help shut that down, though, at least the Medivac. Still, units will need to come back to help deal with that. The Vikings are still alive for Phobos. Army supply is good for Phobos. ANIBot does trade a tank for a tank. Auto turret gets dropped down. Phobos moves forward with another tank of itself, so the tank does perish, and that means that presently it's 1 tank to 1, but ANIBot is the only one with 1 on its side of the map. Still, though, things are looking quite rough for the Blue Terran. Phobos has 1-1. It's getting up a factory. Medivac's on the way. More tanks being produced. So while there was a brief respite for ANIBot, I'm not sure it's going to get any better. As, let's see, 4 Vikings to 9, still not enough to have a good trade. The tank's in trouble now. Vikings just getting annihilated. Phobos having enough to one-shot enemy Vikings is very, very good. And yeah, I think it's just a slow death here. Interesting how Phobos wants to go for the throat and is ignoring the expansions, allowing ANIBot to keep rallying out these units, but it just goes to show how much depth there is to TVT in these bot games. Very cool programming from both these bot authors. So many just interactions and dynamics are at work here with the pushing, with the defense, the tanks knowing when to siege up, when to not siege up, giving us this kind of just stalemate that we've had. The scans for ANIBot are cool, realizing when it needs vision. However, that 1 tank may go down if Phobos dives forward, as Phobos is just about maxed out and will be able to go for the throat soon enough. Although, I mean, this could go on a while. ANIBot says you have Banshees. Yes, Phobos has a Banshee. And yeah, that Banshee may actually be the end of ANIBot if there isn't enough anti-air to deal with it. There's still 3 bases happily mining for the Blue Terran, which is why it's been able to sustain these trades. The Liberator coming in, again, something that could be very useful in a TVT, but not when there's no air control. So air superiority really matters. Viking grouping and programming really matters, and Phobos probably won the game because of that. Like, just, it got air control and it never lost it. So it's been able to get endless pickoffs, which is why pooling of units is very important. And ANIBot just didn't quite have that. Phobos eventually breaks the main base here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this one, go ahead, click that like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and if you do want to support these casts, consider becoming a YouTube member. ANIBot's saying GG testing, as it does actually GG out there and doesn't make Phobos clean it up, so very cool to see that. Yeah, probably was dead there. Cool to see it actually was trying to rebuild, though, not in its main base, which I think is great behavior. Very impressive bots all around, and yeah, just a great match. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning on in.